Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. The weather's about to cool down a bit. The leaves will soon be turning. And my goodness, that means that you need to get up and enjoy the fall colors and cool temperatures in the Great Smoky Mountains. No place more beautiful than that come fall. Visit ParksideCabinRentals.com today to select the best cabin for you, your family, your group of friends. Then book your fall stay. They've got all kinds of, they got cabins that are way off in the hollers that are behind stream and you don't have people around you. They got others. They got 4 new ones that are right down there near the Gatlinburg Strip. So whatever you're looking for, they got it for you. ParksideCabinRentals.com. Okay, back with Sterling Hinton, back with Daniel Hood. This is going to be a quick segment. I just wanted to hear a player's take on this. And you guys are football players, so this is we have to keep in mind it would be worse for the non-football teams who are not going to be on chartered flights. They're going to be flying commercial, and they're going to have midweek games and everything else. But just from your perspective, if you had signed a deal to play at Tennessee and then they somehow wound up in the Pac-12, which is kind of what we got now with Pac-12 teams in the Big Ten, and you were having to go every other week to L.A., Eugene, Oregon, what's that do for your body in terms of fatigue, recuperation, schoolwork, everything else?
I would hate it, and it would almost make me want to transfer at that point because, like, I remember there's a time even at UT when we're still traveling locally that for 3 weeks in the middle of a football season, I was up at 6 a.m. and not able to go to bed till after midnight. And it drains you. And then finally you get your bye week and you sleep for 14 hours because your body's just so exhausted. And you add in 10 to 12 hours more travel on that, it's just, unless you do something to reduce the class load, like there's no way that you can do that.
Well, he's speaking as a player. I'm speaking as a guy that's probably getting recruited. I would love it. I would love it because, you know, the first thing you do back when I was getting recruited and the big schools came and talked to you, you're flying on the charter plane. You're walking up on the tarmac. You know, you're thinking about that as a guy at high school. I'm going to do that. And then I think a guy like myself from Passaic, New Jersey, I'll never forget, we went to UCLA. Man, I'm from Passaic. I'm in Los Angeles, man. I'm 3,000 miles from my hometown. And it's the excitement of travel that was a lot sold to us. We were getting recruited.
But if it was your 6th trip of the year out west as opposed to one trip to L.A.
I'm speaking as a recruit, and then I said as a player. Because Daniel spoke as a player. You know, you feel it. You feel it because you got to get the class done, and you got to get practice with quarterbacks, more film study, you know, and it's just, you feel it. But, you know, I'm quite certain with all the different nuances and systems they got in place now with collegiate athletics, they'll have some people ready to figure out that caseload and that body workload now that we didn't have back in the 1900s.
Well, you didn't have Zoom to do classes back then either.
We didn't have any of that stuff.
I just think for a non-football player, it's going to be especially tough. I thought it was interesting. We were talking about this. Eli Drinkwitz, the head coach at Missouri, who's quickly becoming my favorite coach in the conference. I mean, he came out, he's at Missouri, and during the SEC meetings, the spring meetings, he said, this is ridiculous. Figure out the schedule. Let's play 9 games. He's not at a school that should be saying play 9 games, but he said the fans want it. He comes out a couple weeks ago about all this, and he says, I'm sorry, I thought the transfer window was closed. No, that's just for the kids. The adults can go anywhere they want, whenever they want. And he pointed out the #1 leading cause of mental illness, mental problems, is fatigue. And he said this is bad for these players, and nobody thinks about them. I just think if you're a baseball player or a volleyball player and you're having to travel thousands of miles for your run, that's tough. That's tough.
You know, it's not really related to sports, but there's a study, there's a great book out there. It's called Why We Sleep. And when we fall back, you have a 47% decrease in heart attacks. And when you spring forward, you have a correlation to 47% increase. And I say that not because it's related to football, but if the value of 1 hour of sleep is that important, and you're talking about 2 to 3 hours on a plane flight that messes
2
with
to 3.
Well,
2 to 3 more than what you normally do.
Yeah, right. You know, when you look at that value, it's like what you're putting these kids through. It's not. I mean, they're going to show up. These kids love their coaches. They love their sports. They're going to do what it takes. They're going to get their communications degree or whatever it is that they go through. But at some point, the adults in the room have to adult, and they got to put the kids in a better position to be successful.
Interesting view of that. The anti-Drinkwitz, the head coach at Stanford, I believe Stanford's coach this week, they're trying to get into the ACC. They're trying to get into the ACC because they want that Power 5 money. They don't want to go independent. They don't want to drop to the Mountain West. So his comment about the travel is, we'll figure that out. He said a 6-hour flight, it's 6 hours. What's that? Okay, I need to get you in a room on a debate stage and get Eli Drinkwitz on a debate stage. And I'm probably going to side with the guy who's got the kids in mind as opposed to, what's a 6-hour flight?
I'll tell you what, I'll be with Stanford if you say, you know what, for 1 quarter of the year, so for September to mid-October, the University of Stanford is going to be based in
Charlotte.
Yeah. And, okay, we're going to play our eastern side of the schedule. And
what do you do with classwork?
Yeah.
Well, when
you're on Zoom, I guess.
I would be on the Stanford guy's side also if he found a way to get the big body planes with the cubicles and the beds and everything for the players. I mean, you want to step it all the way up. Don't play with it.
They're not going to do that for their softball team.
Right. You're not even going to get a charter flight for your.
You're not going to do it for the track team.
No.
And those kids matter just as much as every football player.
Let's keep hope alive. Let's keep hope alive.
Sterling Hinton, Daniel Hood. It's only a couple weeks. We'll have you back in here. You're going to be part of our post-game shows again this fall.
This is the season.
Year 21 for the Sports Source.
Undefeated, baby.
The Joy Boys will return. Thank you guys for coming in today. When we come back on the show, why has the SEC commissioner already been talking about changing the college football playoff plan? We'll explain that next on the Sports Source. Come on back.